I think we may have had more fun than the actual Thunder winning the NBA Finals.
I'll be honest,
night.
us meeting and greeting and having fun and hanging with all the supporters of our show, way more fun than the celebration yesterday. The Oklahoma City Thunder couldn't even open champagne bottles.
Or I'm just throwing it out there for speculation. Like, there is a sense today of maybe relief, right? Like, man, that was crazy. Just got in yesterday. There's relief in the air today. Maybe a sense of relief. Like, I am seeing Caruso celebrating, lots of hugs, maybe after a long season like that.
Oh, it's the weakest thing I've ever seen. In fact, I saw the perfect compilation, and play along with me only because I saw someone isolate the winning moments of all four major sports over the last year.
Oh, so all four major sports,
the major champions,
including hot dog eating, or no?
And Joey Chestnut not included because
including the Panthers' recent celebration.
But man, I should have included the fifth. Joey Chestnut, in a week from now, will be taking the stage again. But take a listen. We'll start with the World Series and just listen to not only the excitement, but I'm going to let you know by watching the teams are all jumping on each other, having fun.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
Wow.
So, Dodgers win the World Series. Everyone's piling on.
For the second time, the Vince Lombardi Trophy is headed to Philadelphia. Eagles fly in Super Bowl 59.
They're going nuts.
The Panthers begin to celebrate.
Panthers fans going wild.
Panther perfection.
Unbelievable, right? And then
The Florida Panthers win their second consecutive Stanley Cup.
yeah!
For the first time, the NBA champion resides in Oklahoma City. The storybook season is complete.
They just honestly are shaking each other's hands.
There's no excitement from the team. Of course, the fans are pumped. It's their first ever championship as an organization.
Bro, I've seen you get more excited playing basketball 24-hour fitness.
But it was your standard bro hug, bring it in. Again, a few players look pretty pumped about it because I'm seeing the highlights as we speak. But for the most part, it was your standard bring it in, hug it out, shake hands, and maybe they're just too cool for the room. Maybe they're exhausted. Maybe it's relief. Maybe it's just not as exciting as the other championships.
Yeah, but you remember other NBA champions pumping their fists.
I do.
You remember the celebrations of guys like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan holding up the trophy, going nuts, pumping the fist to the crowd, going crazy. This is the most lackluster S I've ever seen in my life.
Well, we said
Oklahoma City Thunder just proved why we all along were like, this is the weakest ass team to win a championship.
we said from the start, the biggest criticism was lack of star power, right? But we did get to a Game 7. We did have drama. We did see Halliburton come out strong, scored 9 points, played 7 minutes, 7 strong minutes, and went down. That really maybe set the tone of the disappointment in the game or the vibe of the game, because when you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Did they really beat Indiana's best?
Bro.
But again, that's just part of the game. I'm not taking anything away, mind you, for OKC's victory here. That's just how it panned out. That's how it played out. Halliburton pushed himself. The injury's probably connected to the right calf strain that he dealt with. I don't know. I'm no physical therapist. I can only assume that's part of it. So I'm not trying to take away from their victory, but maybe that was sort of disappointing for everybody.
Dude, it was just boring. That's all. I mean, that's boring.
Hey, I'm giving you reasons. What's your assessment? Boring, that's it?
No, because I have a backup. I wrote down my notes here.
Okay, great. But again, it was a Game 7. It didn't pan out as close as it could have been. Would the Pacers have won? We'll never know. If Halliburton would have kept up that pace, it would have been a lot closer, that's for sure.
For the gamblers, I think they would have at least covered that 8.5.
But what I'm not debating,
they had a chance to get within 9 there with 3 minutes left.
Yeah, what I'm not debating though is what our eyes all saw. You know, that ho-hum sort of. Maybe that's just the vibe of these young NBA players in a lot of ways. Like, you know, very swaggy, very too cool for the room.
Dude, it's the weakest thing I've ever seen. Listen, let's think of the most exciting moments of this NBA season. Let's go back, all right? Let's go back for a second.
Take me back. Do-do-do-do. Take me back.
I know you're a big Frank Stallone fan.
Take me back. Do, take me back.
I'm going to take you back to one of the last times we were in Vegas before our big party. We were there for a big fight weekend and all the rumblings on the casino floor. Luka, the Lakers. Luka gets traded to the Lakers. Big moment. Dallas then ends up getting the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Big moment. The Knicks beating the Celtics. Big moment. Halliburton doing the choke, the Reggie Miller to the Knicks. Big moment. Halliburton's dad. Big moment.
Halliburton's dad on the court in Giannis's face was a pretty big moment. That goes to show you where the excitement level was, though.
I'm just thinking.
Oh, wait. Speaking of excitement level, I don't want to take it from your little notes that you made.
Please, keep adding.
But that whole Knicks series was pretty exciting. The run that they had, all the celebrity fans that were there, all the old school Knicks that came to represent, there was a lot of excitement in that series and their run.
The excitement that the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards brought. Exciting. Seeing the veterans like LeBron and Steph Curry fall in the playoffs. Steph got hurt. I haven't named one thing about the team that won it all because they're boring as could be.
Well,
and I mean,
I'll name this. SGA goes down in elite company as an MVP, a finals MVP. They actually won, not just won, their first ever as an organization. He scored 29 points in the final. It came down to what people often say. The team with the best player usually pulls it off in a Game 7. He showed he was the best, and he brought it. So you could say, I didn't like the excitement level, or you could say, man, how impressive was their title run? Maybe they just made it look easy, dude. They were the best team all season. I'm just giving you the maybes. I'm with you. I saw what I saw, and you saw what you saw.
I'm telling you, what from my eyes.
But you're also not an OKC fan. There might be OKC fans or real pure basketball fans listening right now that are like, you're crazy, dude. That was an elite team, and they played like it.
Listen, I've never claimed to be a big NBA guy. So you could possibly put me in that category of the casual fan of the NBA that really likes excitement, and I want to see some drama, some fun. And you know what? Of course, there's going to be other shows and people that are like, well, you just don't love the NBA then because this is where greatness was demonstrated.
Right.
Well, guess what then, dude? Then I feel like I represent more people because the ratings stunk, the final stunk, it stunk.
Well, and again, I was glued in. We were fresh from Vegas. I get in just in time to watch the game. Halliburton goes down. It wasn't as exciting after that because you knew you weren't getting the full battle that you were signed up for and you sat down to watch.
Well, last night I was at my daughter's dance recital. The dad next to me was watching on his phone, and I was peeking over his shoulder. We had this little thing going on, like, I won't, like, keep it low, keep the brightness down. I got you. Halfway through the second half, he's like, yeah, I'd rather watch these little kids dance. He turned it off, and I'm like, I'm with you. Turned it off.
All right, so
he'd rather watch 8-year-olds tap dance.
I mean, Danny G, I know, straight up agrees with Rich, too, but it probably has to do with the fact that Halliburton went down, man.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same game after that.
It would have been a very close ending, in my opinion, in the second half, had Halliburton still been on the court.
And he has proven that he's a big moment guy. We all thought that. You're like, oh, man, there goes a possible big moment. Close, maybe finish, maybe something dramatic.
And the Thunder still might have went on their run in the third quarter the way they did, but we've seen Halliburton lead big charges back and come back, so I think they would have at least gotten back in within 5 points or something like that.
Hey, man, they're a super young team. Congrats to them. I just feel like they lack excitement, and I'm sure, again, Dan Byer, I'm sure Doug and other people on this network that care a lot more about the NBA than I do were probably like, this is a demonstration of greatness. I couldn't care less.
Would it have been better if the Pacers broke out in dance to Bruno Mars, like the Savannah Bananas in the second half? Is that what you're looking for?
Dude, if they
something
wheeled out,
more up here,
if they wheeled out Halliburton and it was like, Daniel LaRusse is going to fight. Like, if there was a moment, but it was like a star player goes down, even when they won, like, again, that comparison's nailed it for me because I was trying to, in my mind, figure out what am I missing?
Why it didn't connect.
And
right?
and then I saw that clip that someone put together on social media of the 4 major champions: Dodgers, Florida Panthers, Philadelphia Eagles, and now OKC, the last 4 major titles. And to see the teammates jumping on each other in jubilee, in joy, and then you see like SGA giving like bro hugs and handshakes like I do after I win a Tuesday night softball game.
I did like, though, how Hardenstein's little infant baby had its head bobbing in the celebration.
Does he not know how to cradle a child?
Yeah, mind his fontanelle. What's wrong with you?
Mind the fontanelle.
Take care of that kid.
That kid would have slept in a burlap sack over his shoulder. Like, it's so funny. Like a child that age can sleep while it's deafening noise, and then when you're also
the kid was
sleeping,
sleeping because he watched Game 7.
Guy was ragdolling his baby. No, seriously. Look, Rich does make a solid point because even if you have no team in the game, right, we all tune in to watch the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, as they used to say, right?
If you told me it was a Game 7 of the WNBA, I would even watch.
There was really no excitement that we were able to see at the end of the game. You know, if you change the music and put it to different music, it looks like they lost. If you change the crowd noise and you just watch them, you could have said they lost.
You ever see someone take like Dumb and Dumber or a comedy and make a movie trailer like it's a horror?
Yes, yeah. If you put different music behind that and you take away the crowd noise, their excitement really wasn't that visible or noticeable. And as a casual fan, and that's who tunes into Game 7s for the most part. Of course, the pure fans are always going to be there. But I'm saying the majority of the fans that watch the championship, they're watching, and it was kind of boring. I don't think the fans there were any less excited. I'm not trying to take away from their celebration. I'm not trying to take away from the history that they made. We're just trying to say that Rich is making a point. We all felt a little disconnected from the excitement level of what was going on. That's all.
Know what it's like?
Lackluster or relief is the way I put it.
You ever give a woman or your kid or someone a gift and you think they're going to love it?
Yeah, that's the
and
worst.
You're
feeling
waiting
ever.
for the reaction?
Yeah, yeah.
And they open the gift. They're like, yeah, thanks. Like, thanks?
So do you think that maybe it was relief for them or just lackluster celebration? I thought SGA handled the moment like a pro, to be honest. I loved everything he said. He didn't show a lot of excitement, but I loved his speech at the end. I loved how he included the city and his teammates on everything he accomplished. I like how he shared the MVP. I thought he nailed everything. He's maybe just not connecting the way maybe other superstars connected for you, Rich.
You know
I don't know.
I'll tell you this. Shame on me. You know what I'm guilty of? I'm guilty of expecting elite athletes to have personalities. And that doesn't always go hand in hand. You can't expect the star player in any sport to also have the personality.
They're also young guys. Second youngest team in NBA history to win a championship.
But
maybe, maybe it's more relief than anything, like shock. Like, we did it. Oh, my God. And everyone has a different perspective.
Yeah,
Anthony Caruso was saying, hey, now, and Danny G said it was tongue-in-cheek, but now no one could say he didn't actually win a real one.
Yeah.
You know, the bubble one he won, and now he won this one in impressive fashion.
Well, let's stop talking
Maybe
about
it's
the
relief.
Let's stop talking about the I don't want to fall asleep talking about the Thunder.
Can I just say, I think SGA and Tyrese both have great personalities themselves. They're just different. SGA seems a little bit more serious. He's like a little bit more, talks like a leader. Tyrese is like that too.
You don't have to be nice. That's boring as hell.
No, it's called speculation.
I think they have, like, they say things that I think are at least keep my attention a little bit. And then Tyrese, I think, is like I call him a classy trash talker. Like, he's actually a really great interview if you listen to him. Like, he's for an NBA player that age, they're both around 26, 27.
Yeah, they're young dudes.
And for guys that age in the NBA, they actually give pretty good responses.
You speak so well.
You know where I think
no
the
one
NBA
on that team will ever do a podcast. I promise you that.
I think the NBA could have did a better job of building or creating that rivalry between Halliburton and SGA, even though there seems to be none there. Like, at least give us the illusion that they're going head-to-head and they don't like each other. I feel like they dropped the ball on that. Like, you know, everybody wants to win the final here, but, like, give me some heated sort of rivalry between those two, and there was none.
There was none. I mean, sorry, Dan, I know
No,
Dan's going to jump in.
Create that.
Sometimes that's tricky, though, because if you overdo it and nobody believes it, then it seems really manufactured.
I didn't think it was necessary.
Guys, honestly, I think it comes down to, like, they don't have it. Like really, like, as much as you want to try and make them have it, they don't, and it's not their fault. And it's why, like, I think Anthony Edwards has it. Like, as a star player, like, if there's, we talk about face of the league stuff, he's in Minnesota, and I felt like there's a different feel with it. Like, for as great as SGA is, And as great as Halliburton is, and all the talk about Halliburton and his great play rose him to this level, like I don't think that SGA has it. He may become a great player, but he just doesn't have.
Well, you know what? That's very
factor.
dangerous, and here's why. Because Rich is onto something.
He's the ultimate warrior.
No. You know who he is?
Remember when?
No, he's a Klitschko. Because Klitschko, he was so dominant, and so great, and no one could beat him. It sort of ruined boxing for 10 years because he was just a boring face for the sport, right? So if they go on a magnificent run and they're such a young team, if they don't find some personality, it's going to be boring for the NBA.
And I know I'm going to get the Family Guy meme where it's like this dog has it because he was wearing like fancy sunglasses. But it's true. There is something about it. You either you have it or you don't, and you can go in any sport and do that.
I have two analogies. And Covino's boxing one was so on point. It really was. But back in the day when we were kids, do you remember when Vince McMahon sort of bet on the Ultimate Warrior to take over Hogan as like the face? And then within like 6 months, they realized like, the kids don't really give a crap about the Ultimate Warrior the way we thought. They had to pivot, give Hulk Hogan the belt back, and then change the whole storyline because no one cared enough about the Ultimate Warrior.
And to bring it back to
no one cares
the boxing
about the Klitschko's.
Why did people start caring about boxing even just a little bit? Because Tyson Fury was a superstar personality. Yeah, for the league's sake, you got to have some game, but you also have to have it. But it doesn't mean they're not going to continue this run.
Right?
It's not to take away the greatness of other people. I'll give you an analogy that's fresh on our mind. Covino and I had an amazing weekend meeting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of listeners that came to see us in Vegas. It was the most humbling, beautiful thing. And Covino and I afterwards will be like, yo, you meet that guy? Because there's some people that somehow stand out in a crowd. Danny, I'm sure you met people like, yo, that guy's a wild dude, or that woman was so sweet. Like,
yeah,
it's like casting for a reality show. Why do you think these same why do you think this same Johnny Bananas type show up on every show? Because they stand out, and there's nothing about
some people
the Oklahoma
out,
City Thunder that stands out.
Yeah. Maybe they get a wild card on their team just to give it some personality next year. Maybe they need that. Just some crazy guy, lots of tattoos and a mohawk.
Like some weird guy, like a Jesse
Who's that,
Winker
who's that
type.
dude that played with
Trying
LeBron?
to bring Birdman back.
Yeah,
Birdman back.
They need like a Birdman on the team. That's exactly what I was thinking, Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need something like that to give it some extra flair. All right, so your thoughts, maybe we're alone here.
No,
Maybe
I don't think
awesome.
so. I don't think that our show is off on this because they just announced the OKC Thunder Championship Parade is going to be on Tuesday. And the route leads to the Ronald J. Norick Downtown Library. It's kind of weird.
Well, really?
I'd rather go take out a book.
And just so you guys, with the ratings, the overall series was down from a year ago overall. But last night's Game 7 did have over 16 million viewers, which is the most viewed of any NBA Finals game in the last 6 years.
That's great. That's awesome.
That is great to know. Thank you, Dan Byer. I'm just throwing this out there for, again, conversation's sake. I agree with Rich. We all saw it. We saw it. Felt lackluster. But maybe like the young cats are vibing with it the way we are not because we have a different expectation, right? We've seen Jordan pumping his fist and jumping in the air. We've seen all these moments. We have all these highlights in our mind. Maybe younger kids see it and that's their generation and they're pumped about it in a different way.
Was the Celtics celebration boring? That was last year.
Tatum's speech was kind of lame. We criticized it
because he got lost in the moment. He
stole it from everybody.
And he had little pieces of
Wasn't
all
it
these
like
famous
3
moments.
different players' speeches in one?
It was 5, I think.
Yeah, it was
goodness.
insane. Yeah, and
because it was also like the posing, like he tried to do the Kobe in the jacket, like hugging the trophy.
Yeah, we said it was corny.
Yes,
he used Chad GPT for writing his speech.
Maybe we're just too critical. That's part of what we do, but that's what our eyes see, and that's what you get here on the show.